Book Summary, 3 Days in June by Ann Tower. Introduction. In 3 Days in June, Pulitzer Prize-winning author Ann Tower presents tender, sharply observed portrait of woman at crossroads, set over the course of 3 pivotal days: the day before, the day of, and the day after her daughter's wedding. The novel follows Gail Bain's socially awkward, recently unemployed woman facing the emotional whirlwind of family, past regrets, and an uncertain future. Tyler's writing shines with her signature blend of humor, insight, and humanity. She reveals the quiet dramas that unfold in kitchens and living rooms, and glances and silences and misunderstandings and unexpected grace. 3 Days in June is an intimate story that examines how families fracture and reconnect, how love changes shape, and how we rediscover ourselves even as we age. Day 1, the beginning of the end, or the start of something new. Gail Baines is not having a good day at 58. She has just been dismissed, or perhaps resigned, from her longtime position at small nonprofit in Baltimore. The distinction is murky, as it often is when Gail finds herself emotionally overwhelmed. She's been at odds with her younger, more performative boss, and this final clash leaves her untethered and adrift. To make matters worse, her daughter Debbie is getting married tomorrow, and Gail is feeling increasingly excluded. The mother of the groom, Trish, sleek, charming, and socially adept, has orchestrated most of the events. Gail, in contrast, hasn't even been invited to the spa day. She feels like prop on her daughter's big day, relegated to the sidelines of her own family. Gail is divorced from Max, Debbie's father, a dreamy and unreliable musician who left years ago for more spontaneous life. She raised Debbie largely on her own, trading dreams for structure. While their bond has always been rooted in practicality, their relationship has grown strained. Gail's dry humor, emotional reserve, and awkward attempts at intimacy have made her difficult to access, even for her daughter. Then comes another twist. Max arrives unannounced on her doorstep. In one hand, he's holding cat carrier containing rescue named Juniper, and the other battered suitcase. He's unprepared for the weekend, lacking proper suit, lodging, or even plan. Gail wants to say no. She doesn't have the bandwidth to host the man who broke her heart, but something, residual affection, duty, curiosity, makes her let him in. That evening, as Gail attempts to organize chaos in her home and mind, Debbie visits with bombshell. She has just learned something unsettling about her fiancé, Nathan. It's not just skeleton in the closet. It's full-bodied ghost. The secret involving murky financial transaction and relationship he hid from her calls into question Nathan's honesty and integrity. Debbie, normally measured and decisive, is shaken. Gail immediately jumps to outrage, while Max, surprisingly, responds with thoughtfulness. Calm, the three of them sit in a moment of rare emotional convergence. The wedding and Debbie's entire future now hangs in the balance. They too, fault lines. Friday dawns with the weight of unresolved questions. Debbie hasn't called off the wedding, but she hasn't committed to moving forward either. Guests are flying in, the venue is being decorated, and Trish is bustling about with her signature flair, blissfully unaware of the looming emotional crisis. Gail, still reeling from the news, is unsure of how to proceed, how to support her daughter, how to coexist with Max, and how to find her place. Family she increasingly feels invisible within. The day is filled with disjointed errands and awkward encounters. Gail and Max head out together to find him suit. This errand becomes an unexpected moment of intimacy, rife with sniping humor, nostalgia, and buried tenderness. Gail begins to see Max not as the caricature she has painted all these years, but as man just as flawed and lonely as she is. Through series of flashbacks, Tyler slowly unspools family history. We see Gail and Max's courtship. Two mismatched souls who stumbled into love because they were both trying to outrun something. We witness the slow unraveling of their marriage. Gail's yearning for structure, Max's hunger for spontaneity, and how neither was equipped to meet the other halfway. The divorce was not explosive. It was slow fade, shared failure. Neither fully understood at the time. Back in the present, Debbie meets with Nathan. He can everything. Yes, the financial entanglement was real, but he insists it was not unethical, merely ill-advised. Debbie doesn't know whether to believe him, or even if trust can be rebuilt so soon. Her world, once so carefully ordered, now feels porous. Gail, meanwhile, finds herself doing something she rarely does. Reaching out, she writes, note to Debbie. Not lecture, not advice, but an honest message of love and support. It's awkward but sincere. It's a personal growth. This Gail begins to loosen the rigid emotional control she's always clung to. Day 3, love in all its imperfect forms. Saturday, wedding day, everything is in motion, but the question remains, will Debbie go through with it? Morning arrives in fog of uncertainty. Gail, having spent fitful night wrestling with memories and regrets, awakens to find Max making breakfast. badly but with heart. There's strange comfort in their shared imperfections. The two talk not about reconciliation, but about understanding what went wrong, what they miss, and what they still want out of life. For the first time in years, Gail sees Max not as mistake, but as meaningful chapter in her life story. Finally makes her decision. She will go through with the wedding, but on her terms. At the venue, just before the ceremony, she pulls Nathan aside for candid, private conversation. She makes it clear that she's choosing this marriage not because it's perfect, but because she's willing to accept its complexities. It will move forward, but only with renewed commitment to honesty. The wedding is quiet, beautiful, and deeply human. There's no fairy tale gloss, but genuine emotion. Trish beams. Gail watches with pride and vulnerability, and Max, now properly dressed, tears up at the sight of his daughter walking down the aisle. Later at the reception, the mood is warm, subdued, reflective. Gail finds herself laughing, genuinely laughing with Max, and even shares dance with him. It's not romantic. It's not rekindling. It's something more profound, an acknowledgement of the life they built, broke, and somehow salvaged. That ends not with grand declarations, but with quiet clarity. Gail returns home alone, but changed. She is still unemployed, still unsure of the future, but no longer paralyzed by fear or bitterness. She opens window, lets the summer air in, and begins writing list, not of tasks, but of possibilities. Themes 1. Parenthood and the ambivalence of letting go. Gail's arc is deeply rooted in the complicated role of being mother to an adult daughter. Debbie's impending marriage forces Gail to reckon with her own sense of identity and relevance. Tyler gently explores how parents, especially single mothers, often define themselves through their children, and how painful it can be to release that narrative. 2. The messiness of love. 3 Days in June challenges romanticized idea of enduring love. Gail and Max's relationship is not saved or rekindled, but it is honored. Tyler presents realistic view of long-term love, not as fairy tale, but as lived in, scarred, but meaningful connection. 3. Self-worth in middle age. Gail's journey of self-discovery at 58 is refreshing and rare in contemporary fiction. Her emotional awakening is quiet but powerful. Losing her job, reconnecting with Max, supporting Debbie all serve as catalysts for personal reevaluation. 4. Communication and miscommunication. Tyler skillfully depicts how families often fail to communicate, not out of malice, but out of fear, habit, or emotional caution. Much of the novel's tension lies in what remains unsaid, and much of its resolution arrives through moments of brave honesty. Ann Tyler's style. Ann Tyler's prose is deceptively simple, spare, unflashy, but full of emotional weight. She writes not with melodrama, but with meticulous observation. Her characters are ordinary people facing ordinary problems, yet she reveals the profound within the mundane. Her humor is subtle, often tucked into the corners of dialogue or internal monologue. Gail's dry wit, for instance, acts as both armor and insight. Tyler's ability to create richly drawn characters within compressed time frame, just 3 days, is testament to her narrative skill. Conclusion. 3 Days in June is luminous novel about family, forgiveness, and finding peace in imperfection. With tenderness and unflinching honesty, Ann Tyler explores the emotional complexities of mother-daughter bond, the lingering shadows of past marriage, and the quiet courage it takes to face the future. It is not a story of dramatic transformation, but of subtle shifts. Kind that happen when we finally see each other clearly, when we risk vulnerability, when we accept that love in all its flawed forms is still worth choosing. Wedding may be the centerpiece of this novel, but the heart of 3 Days in June lies in its characters' journeys toward emotional reckoning and renewed connection. It is, as one reviewer put it, like reading hug warm, enveloping, and deeply comforting. Nobody understands human nature better than Tyler, and nobody understands the complexities of love the way she does. Boston Globe.